We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Raw Ascension podcast with myself, Roy B. Merlin, and Aida Jasmine, my beautiful, amazing partner. And today we're going to be talking about 5D Ascension symptoms and what the physical body, emotional body, and energetical body go through during a DNA and energetic upgrade. And all three get affected as well, and getting thrown in with solar flares and Mercury retrograde, everything else that's going on, it can make massive changes to how we feel from day to day, from hour to hour, from minute to minute. Energy is always in flow, it's always changeable, so it's not just a 24-hour thing. Sometimes, even though ascension symptoms can last for a few days, even a week, maybe even longer, depending on what kind of upgrade you're going through. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the bulk of the podcast. First of all, we'll get into why we've been away for so long. We haven't done a live podcast for quite a while, a few months. No, probably a couple of months. It was not before Christmas, is it?
It was after Christmas.
After Christmas, yeah. It's hard to remember. Yeah, there's been so much going on. So yeah, my lovely partner Aida and myself, we moved to a new location, about 2 hours north from where we was living on the Gold Coast, up into the beautiful sunny coast, Kings Beach. So we're closer to the ocean, which is amazing because we can just go for a walk every day and draw in that beautiful energy of Mother Earth and Lemuria and all the ocean energies. So it's just an amazing change, and the process of that, because that's part of our evolution, the process of that just takes physical and linear time to sort out. Finding the actual place that we ended up in, moving furniture, all those things that you know what it entails when you move home. So that's why we've been offline for a couple of months. So without further ado, I'll introduce my beautiful partner, and we'll get into 5D Ascension symptoms, because we've recently had our own. So we thought we'd do a podcast to help people traverse the physical side of it, the energetical side, and tips, tricks, and little techniques and things you can do to ease the physical pain and everything else that the body acts up with during the upgrade and ascension symptoms. Welcome, Aida.
Thank you. Amazing. Like, this shift for us up onto the Sunshine Coast has been absolutely incredible. So we were definitely called here. I feel that we've actually spoken about this. We may have done a quick live on it. And it was being very much directed by spirit. And so no surprise that we then ended up with these massive upgrades or ascension symptoms. And we're ascension mastery guides. So, even though we guide others into 5D and beyond, we're still being upgraded all the time, because we are living in a very 3D matrix driven world. So it's no wonder that we are required to continuously expand, because the universe constantly is. And if you feel like you've already maxed out and you've achieved everything you've ever desired, or you're already in 5D consciousness and whatever dimension you attune to, then let me tell you, and if you have tuned into us by now, we're pretty brutal and direct. There's more. There's always more. We have never hit a limit, certainly not in this physical dimension, and certainly never in terms of spirit, because the universe is constantly expanding. And I use these words quite specifically, so must we. So we are always being upgraded, downloaded, uploaded, expanding. And the reason why we did choose this one is because we recently both went through this beautiful experience. And yes, it does feel like being hit by a truck sometimes. And then what does that look like, feel like, and what does it mean in terms of physical dimension and reality, and also the upgrade? However, what the fuck is 5D? Like, everyone talks about 5D consciousness, 5D ascension, and like, what does that look like? What is 5D? So let's start there. And why we want to get there.
Yeah. It's just a whole different way of living energetically, and it's a whole level of truth. What we believe is 5D is personal to us. Yes, it's a whole new vibrational level for the human body, which means we're less dense, we're less physically heavy. I mean, you can stand on the scales, it won't make a difference. But on a quantum level, because it just means we're owning more of our journey. We're more consciously aware of the choices we make and what effect that has on us on an external level, on an emotional level, on a physical level, on a journey level. But just because it's a higher level of awareness that there's more than just this physical meat suit that we get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, and wash, rinse, repeat for 80, 85 years. You know, at some point when, I mean, we're fully in 5D now, and as people awake into it, people will start living longer because our body's less dense. So it takes less toll physically. And the environment takes less toll on our body. And it just means that we learn to eat better. We learn to be more in alignment with who we are. And it's a journey. Awakening into 5D isn't something that happens overnight and then that's it. It's not like waking up from sleep. You're awakening into a whole different journey and a whole different way of being. You know, we are human beings, and then you wake into a whole new level of being, and you start to make changes. You maybe end relationships that you know aren't working anymore, and you know they haven't been working, but this new energy gives you the courage to go, well, there's something beyond that. I know there's something beyond that, even if I don't know what that is, but I'll step into it anyway. It's the leap of faith. And then you start to make dietary changes, and then you start to become more aware that when you're feeling off, or what you would previously considered calling sick, and saying that you're sick, you look beyond that than just going to a doctor and getting pharmaceuticals. And again, highly stressed, we are not medical doctors here. But we know how energy affects the human body, and this is where we talk from. So you look at it different ways, and you realize that the body can be helped through different methods rather than just blocking out the pain with paracetamol. And as much as that can actually help during an ascension system and support you, it's not the thing that's done every day all the time. You start to realize that the body is a finely tuned, finely balanced piece of equipment, for want of a better term, and you work with it rather than against it, because the body starts to talk, and it talks in such a way that you have to listen. And if you don't, then you stay in a repeated lesson, and you then start using words like, oh, my illness is chronic. Chronic illness is just a repeated lesson that you're refusing stubbornly to learn. But when you awaken into 5D, you go, okay, I know I can shift this, but what does it take? And then because you're asking the right questions, the universe starts to co-create with you to help you move beyond the life lesson and the emotion behind that lesson, and possibly part of your soul contract behind that. Your body's just a warning, just a warning light system that tells you that there's something that seriously it's looking at.
And with that ascension, it's a feedback system. Your body's a feedback system. So 5D is a level of consciousness. It's a level of awareness that we choose and desire to attain to, because it enables us to live more in harmony and more joy, peace, bliss, happiness, and in this physical realm, and being able to materialize in this physical realm. So yes, manifesting in the physical realm. So 3D is very much, as you would imagine, the physical body, right? Everything in our physical reality is three-dimensional. And you can't just zoom up and feel like, okay, now I've achieved this dimension, I can just ignore 3D, which, a lot of spiritual gurus do try and do. They try and ignore this physical realm, and they, abuse their bodies. They treat it like a tip. They, hate this experience. That's not consciousness. That's certainly not 5D consciousness. And I say that very clearly, because we are here as human beings having this incredible experience, but we are attaining and remembering the spiritual realm. Yeah, and we're wanting to live that here. So 3-dimension is everything in this physical reality, everything you can touch, everything you can feel, everything you can see, everything you can hear, right? To some degree, because, you know, as mediums, we can channel all sorts of things. The 4th dimension is the emotional being, right? That is all of our emotions. Yeah. And again, we don't want to attach to any one thing. We're wanting to witness, because any emotions we attach to, we element and we have a physical response to it in our physical body, right? And then the 5th dimension is our spiritual being. It's the physical spirit, or physical, it's a spiritual part of our physical experience. So this is where a lot call our Christ consciousness. It's our collective consciousness. And yes, there's a collective consciousness in all of those realms, because it is an attainment level. But the Christ consciousness that we want to attain to is the 5th dimension, because that's where we want to bring literally heaven on earth. Yeah, that's what we're here to achieve, heaven on earth. And that's absolutely possible. So when you have a clear understanding of what each dimension does and what they reflect on, what they attain to when we're in our physical realm, because we can't ignore this, but we also don't want to ignore the 4th and 5th dimension. We're wanting to attain those self-mastery, soul mastery, the ascension mastery of those dimensions, elements, so that we can live blissfully, happily. So when your body is a feedback system, it means that you're creating that level of awareness, consciousness, and you're repairing, remembering that you are this innate, incredible spiritual being, 5D consciousness in this beautiful physical world. Yeah.
Exactly. And as I said, you can't skip 3 and 4. We're in this physical, we can't express our spiritual self without this physical 3rd dimensional body and the 4th dimensional emotional body. We cannot express who we are. You know, we need the physical body to change vibrational energy into physical sound, the larynx, the voice box. Our hands express as well. So there's your physical expression. Your emotions is your passion. What, you know, when you feel angry or sad or happy or joyful, all those feelings that then also get transmuted through your voice. You know, because if you're not very passionate, you sound monotone. You know, you just talk at this and you're not expressing anything. But as soon as you bring in passion and things that you love, your voice fluctuates and your body gets more expressive. That's your 3rd dimensional expression. And if you're in a place of hating that physical body, then, you know, there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a lesson of 5D. It's like, why are you, asking? This is where 5D comes in, because your 5D self says, well, start asking yourself why you don't like the physical experience. It's because you want to escape up here, because it's all wonderful and light and fluffy and flowers and butterflies and everything. And here you have bills to pay and you have to drive to work and do all these things. As you start to express the joy in the human self, you start to express gratitude that you get to drive to work, that you get to hold a steering wheel and use the pedals and drive to somewhere in linear timeline. And that's just one example of tens of thousands of things you do throughout your life, that when you're grateful for, life becomes more flow and you're less resistance, and you start to love this human body. And then when you start to love the human body, it aches less, because there's that experiment from the Japanese guy that you get 2 plants and you speak to one really negatively and it dies, and you speak to one positively and it flourishes and grows. The human body is exactly the same.
Living organism.
We're a living organism. And if you're telling yourself every day that you don't like yourself, it's going to shrink, it's going to get tight, it's going to compress, and it's going to start saying, I don't like being treated this way, and it's going to start acting up. So
that's beautifully put. It's the disconnect from our spirit self and our human self. Because spirit is never separate from us. Yeah, you are a spirit, and I say this a lot, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. We hear that a lot, right? But your spirit is inside your body, but your body is inside your spirit. You can't separate a drop from the ocean. Where you can take it out, right? But you can't remove your body from your spirit, okay? So the cool thing is, whenever we are feeling pain, discomfort, dis-ease, and any of those lower vibrational energies, they're called vibrations and frequencies for a reason, right? Because we are emanating that constantly, consistently. Then that's the disconnect, that's the pain, that's the sorrows, is we are separating ourselves from that higher level of consciousness. We are separating ourselves from remembering who we truly are. That's the pain, that's the discomfort. And I'm definitely not spiritual bypassing, yeah, because that's ignoring. That is like literally bypassing, right? There's no shortcut to this, because the body will remind you. It's a feedback system. So
on the bypassing thing, if you're going, oh, everything's always light and wonderful, and you're not expressing the days where it's a shit day and everything's going wrong, especially now because we're in Mercury retrograde and things will go wrong, as I found out during my Animal Totem weekly live, that it just stopped. We've got a brand new internet, so it's one of those things, and it was just like, and we was talking about Mercury retrograde, we popped up and went hello. And if you don't get pissed off at those things, because it's okay to be pissed off in the moment, it's when we choose to continue that energy of being pissed off, that's where you're then basically telling your body that you're always pissed off. Even if you only do it for those extra 5 minutes, you're making that choice. Whereas being in the flow of the emotion, when it comes up naturally, that's the human experience. That's what we're down here to experience. To experience that where everything's going okay, and then all of a sudden that one little thing triggers the shit out of you, and you lose it for half an hour. It's okay. Absolutely okay. And that's what we're here to experience. Because as souls, we learn so much through that experience. And that's why we continue coming down to Mother Earth. And Mother Earth's one of the few planets in the universe where we get that experience. It's why she's so coveted. Because we get that chance of that human physical experience in the 3D realm, where our body's frail, yet we get the knowledge of knowing how powerful we are. It's kind of like an oxymoron with these infinite powerful beings. Yet during this human experience, we're this human body is very fragile. You if you fall down the wrong way and you broke a bone or you bruise yourself, you black your eye, and you can do all sorts of damage to it so easily with not paying attention. And that's also part of the human experience of living in fear without living in fear. Being aware at that high level.
Yeah. And as much as this body is fragile, as you put it, I say it's incredibly resilient. Its capacity to heal and recover is phenomenal. Yeah. The fact that we're only here for 80 odd years is a belief system. Yeah. When you look back in history, people were on the planet a hell of a lot longer. Right. And that's because it was a belief system. It was a way of living. It was attunement to this earth. It was alignment with living with this earth. So as much as, we might be fragile, we're also incredibly resilient. We have this enormous capacity to heal, our cellular turnover so frequently. And it diminishes as we age because we have a belief system that does so. So when you shift your beliefs, and I always say, please, the quality of your life dependent on the quality of your questions, and shifting belief systems that don't longer serve you, like you were saying, right? So we're wanting to shift this so that by becoming more conscious and living in the present moment, then we're not attached to the fact, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde, I'm going to start living in fear. What's going to break? Like, we want to have due diligence. We want to be conscious of our existence, living in the now. Living in the now. Not always going, oh, like looking back. That's the attachment piece with your pain aches and holding on to that. So, if you get frustrated by something dropping out, and it's like, oh, okay, that's okay. I can have that moment. I can have that experience. It's gone. Let it flow.
in the past. And interesting, you know, like I was saying, when we hold on to things, and things we often hold on to is old relationships. Oh, they did that to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that was done to me.
Yeah.
And 5D is all about taking ownership and being able to move beyond that. Both myself and Aida have been through messy relationships and messy divorces and bad relationships.
Yeah.
But we don't blame those people for anything. They were teachers of ours.
Yeah.
And yes, at the time we did the human experience and went through the pain and the heartache and the emotions and all the blame and all the anger and all that stuff. But what 5D is all about is about moving beyond that and seeing it as a part of your journey that was teaching you something very powerful. That made us very strong and resilient and made us helped our relationship.
Yeah.
So we know how to communicate better. Whereas if you're stuck in the past and going, oh, well, every man's about, you know, the thing around at the moment, like, you know, you see a lot of these people on the street doing these interviews and asking women if men are useful. And there's a lot of them going, no, we don't need men.
I don't know that reality.
You're having a fucking laugh with that.
I didn't even say that.
you know, and it's just ridiculous. It's like we both, you know, we're in a human experience of masculine and feminine energies. That's actually a universal law, the law of duality. So you're denying the existence of your own, literally your own father, because you had to have a father to exist. So, and you're denying that existence. That's something you've been taught because you wasn't born with that opinion, and it is an opinion, and it's no different to, like, you know, women useful. Of course, they're bloody useful. You know, in a perfectly balanced family, and nothing's ever balanced, by the way. Nothing's ever perfectly balanced. It might be perfectly balanced for a day, and then it will flow out again because everything ebbs and flows. But in an ideal environment, a woman in her power and a man in her power will raise really powerful children. Will raise empowered people. But when you're in a relationship that's toxic and there's always conflict, it's just two people who aren't in their power and are still living out mother and father wounds. And they're just bouncing off each other during that process. And without proper communication and connection to the higher self that knows the journey of why we're learning these lessons, that disconnect, you'll always remain in that toxic cycle until you get to a point where you go, oh, I've had enough of this. And as soon as you say that, the higher self comes and goes, good, right, now let's do this a different way.
Let me show you the way.
Let me show you the way, exactly.
And that's the beautiful balance of systems, right? Like, as a shamanic practitioner, it's Mother Earth, and we all say that, but there's Father Sky, right? You can't have one without the other. There's Grandfather Sun and Grandmother Moon, the balance, the duality of power and, you know, shadow and light. It's beautiful harmony. And the ascension process is remembering. A lot of people call it spiritual awakening. I'm referring to it as spiritual remembering, right? Because we are remembering who we truly are, part of this incredible cosmos, universe, infinite potentiality. And that is a 5D level of consciousness. And that's what we're wanting to bring forth and have that consciousness in this physical realm. And back to what Roy was saying earlier, is when you start to have this beautiful consciousness and awareness, you eat better. You drink pure water. You start to love this incredible physical being and your home and all of the experiences. So when you do become lighter, your weight will shed because your Ascension Symptons allow you to be physically lighter as much as it is emotionally lighter, energetically lighter, because you're unattached to things that are holding you back for so long. The relationships that you've been holding on to, the pain, the discomfort, this disease, is all attaching to your physical body. Hence the
blame culture.
Shame, blame, and guilt. That shit gotta go.
Yeah. The blame culture is big at the moment because we're not taking responsibility of our own journey. And 5D is about taking responsibility for every part of your journey. So even if you've been through a really, what would be on a human level considered a horrible experience, that you, let's say, was attacked in the street, for instance. Well, you've still got to take responsibility for going out at that time to that location. Even if you was going out with friends and it just seems so inconsequential that you'd always go there, you still had that choice to leave the house that day. Now, yes, I know not everyone's a psychic and can see these things coming. But what I'm saying is going, okay, then you ask yourself questions. Well, okay, I know it seemed an innocuous thing, and I'd normally go out on a Friday night to that club, pub, bar, restaurant, place, wherever.
Yeah.
But why on that particular night? You know, it's about breaking it down into details. Why that particular night, and asking those questions, and not placing blame on the people who attacked you, and stepping outside of it without bypassing and going, okay, there's something in this to teach me. You'll then move beyond the pain of the actual physical happening of it. And once you move beyond it, you start to see the gold in there. It might teach you that to write a book to help people, help 1,000 others not walk into that experience. And if that's one of your missions in life, you won't be able to do that until you stop blaming the people that attacked you.
Being in that beautiful power of the experience.
Surrender to the universe. The universe will take care of them because they've got their own mission. And on a higher level, you signed a contract together to go through that and experience that from both sides of the coin. When you start to understand that, but then still blend it in with your physical reality, going, okay, well, it's teaching me something, but what is it helping me do in the physical reality? And if it is write a book, then you still need the human body to write the book of the experience. And you've got to relive it. But to relive it from a point of teaching others and sharing the experience, and not just going, oh, woe is me, I went through this, woe is me, and I'm writing this book because I just want to live in that repetitive cycle. And all, you know, all men are bastards, all women are bitches, whatever it is, then you're just repeating the cycle in others by repeating that message. Whereas if you write it from a place of empowered, saying, yes, I went through this, I come on the other side, I learned how to heal my body, I've learned how to defend myself, or whatever it is, there's the power points. And then you're teaching other people saying, yeah, look, I ended up in this situation because of X, Y, and Z. So if you do A, B, C instead, you'll always avoid X, Y, and Z. These are my teachings.
And it's bringing, as you were saying, like it brings, where's the gold in this situation? Yeah, because there is fate and there's destiny. There's soul contracts that you have signed up to come into this earth, as we've already spoken. And then there's things, journeys, experiences that you have chosen to do because you're not in alignment with your soul. So there are experiences. We know that going out and abusing alcohol and recreational drugs and living a certain lifestyle isn't healthy for us. We know that. We know that to be true. Yeah. So when we continue on a path that is not in alignment with our soul, then we will invite in particular experiences. You will attract, manifest, materialize certain experiences so you can wake the fuck up. So you can remember that this is not in alignment with your soul. However, we do come to this earth, and some of us have had certainly tragic experiences or really profound experiences, and you know you've healed them when there's no emotion attached to relating them again.
Yeah, there's the saying, make light of things. So if normally what that means is someone speaks about a certain experience that you've been through, and instead of triggering you, you can make a joke of it. If you get to that level, or it doesn't trigger you, and there's just no reaction. There's no reaction. Yeah, there's no emotion. You're not going into the fourth dimension of emotions around it. So you're not holding on to it. You're going straight to fifth dimension, going, okay, yeah, there's a lesson there. Oh yeah, I've been through that, and this is how I move beyond it. And then you're in the level of wisdom then.
Or someone else's experience no longer triggers you either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've had a similar experience. Because often as humans, when someone's sharing their experience, we want to relate it back to us. Right? Oh, I've had and then there becomes almost this competition between who's had the worst experience. That's a very human attachment sitting in your victim. And I say that really fucking clearly. And I do not apologize for that. However, if someone expresses an experience that they're relating to, you can, from a space of empowerment, this is the difference between holding space and relating, or depending on what you call relating. Yeah, we don't always want to attach everyone's experiences or everyone's sharings to ourselves. Yeah, because then we're taking that energy on board and we're like reliving and reattaching and then haunting ourselves potentially with that same experience. When we come from a place of empowerment, we can hold space for someone sharing that experience and continue to help heal, hold, and as you were saying, share how you have then moved beyond. But we can't help heal people that don't want to be healed, right? It's just that's the permission piece. Have they given you permission to share your experience? Have you given permission to share your experience? Have you given permission for them to share their experience? Right? That's a whole other level of conversation. But when someone's sharing their experience, try not to always relate it back to yourself, because otherwise, hi, I'm an alcoholic, and so am I, and I've been sober for 2 days, 10 years, 20 years. You're not a fucking alcoholic. You had an experience with alcohol however long ago. And yes, I'm very strong with this because I've helped navigate a ton of people who have been through this. And stop attaching yourself to something. Yeah. An experience. So if you are there to hold space for people or help people navigate to 5D and beyond, then you can bring love to that experience, understand what it was there to teach you, which is always to come back to your sovereignty and your soul and to your empowerment as a 5D being, spiritual being, because there's 12 dimensions coming into this human realm. Then you come to that beautiful space of enlightenment, beautiful space of consciousness, beautiful space of remember.
Yeah. And the remembering piece, coming back all the way back to what Aida said about the body being resilient, is that the body's purpose is to always heal. The physical body's purpose is to always heal. And when it's the emotions that stand in the way of that repair.
Yes.
And sometimes, and that emotion is often backed by a soul contract lesson. So when you learn that lesson and then you move beyond it, and that emotions, that trigger point is not there anymore, and the energy is all in a perfect flow, your body will repair. So whatever illness got chronic, let's say, your body will repair. And you'll find the key to the unlock. So interesting enough, I watched something this morning. It was talking about fibromyalgia, and it's a vitamin D deficiency. Some guy discovered.
There's a ton I could talk about.
Yeah, but that's just the point I'm making. Is that's just one key.
Yeah.
Yours might be a different key. If you got fibromyalgia, yours might be a different key. But if you're not looking into why you've chosen this experience, and you're just going and every time someone, first time you meet someone, they go, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and I've got fibromyalgia. That you're just telling you're reminding your body what to do. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this. Your mind has become your body has become the mind, and it's just on a repeat cycle, and it will keep telling you, saying, and every time you feel the pain, that's just your body going, do you want me to keep doing this? And your mind just goes, yeah, we don't need to look into this. Just keep it going. And you get locked to that. So it's about moving beyond that and going, okay, body, we're going to try start doing something different. And then you start co-creating with the universe. You step into your 5D energy and go, right, we need to move beyond this, because I'm aware now, consciously aware now, that the body can repair itself till the day I physically pass. Till the day it stops working, it can repair itself. So how do we repair it? How do I allow my body and get out of the way so it can do its job?
And that's shifting beliefs.
And that's that's one way, shifting the beliefs. So and
the physical world to support that.
And then and there are going to be physical world actions along the way. So you might have to do a different fitness regime. So let's take one of the classic, most common ones is lower back pain, which is lack of support and lack of finances. That's normally lower back pain. That's what it signifies on an emotional level.
Yeah.
So then how do you move beyond that? So if you've been doing the same job that's $20 an hour and you've been moaning about that job for 10 years, the action there is to start looking for a different job. And or it could even begin at self-worth and start to change the belief that you are worth more than $20 an hour.
Yeah.
And as you start to shift, because like sometimes we will go down that, oh, well, I'll sit down for a living, so that's causing the back pain. Bullshit. It's nothing to do with it. I used to be a courier for like 10 years. And I rarely, in the beginning, had back pain until I shifted my belief around money. And once I shifted that and my self-worth grew, my back pain went, and I wasn't in that job for long. Because it was not, I would move my worth level. So what was serving that to pay my bills and everything changed. And then I moved into different environments, different work environments. There was still a similar level, same lesson, different level. And then I got to the point where I then work for myself. And I don't have a lot of back pain. I still sit down a lot. But the action piece for my body is to still get exercise. The body is a movable piece of equipment, a highly advanced piece of equipment that needs exercise. Now, I'm not talking down the gym 7 days a week, every morning, noon and night, because we can also over exercise.
Yeah.
We can also push it too hard. Again, it's about balance. And this, well, as I get older, I need to slow down. Depends on the body. Like my son's 19 and I'm 52 this year. And I can still outpace him, still outrun him at soccer for short periods of time. And the reason it's short periods of time is I'm not playing soccer regularly. So I'm fully aware that my body is not match fit. So my lungs don't have the capacity at the moment to handle running around, and especially in a more humid environment. That's my awareness. That's me honoring my body and not trying to push it. So we'll play for like 20 minutes and we'll have we'll have a break and a drink break quite regularly. But ultimately, it's my body's memory system, my muscle memory is still there from when I played regularly, just not as fine-tuned. And I know it might take me a little bit longer to get match fit, but if I so chose, I could get match fit quite quickly within a month. But I know I'd have to do the physical work. So I'd have to start running again and start at half a kilometre even, or just do a walk. Yeah, that's right. There's a process. But it varies from person to person. You know, my son was raised differently to me, where there wasn't as much exercise growing, and that was just the environment. We was always outside as much as possible. And so he doesn't have that same muscle memory as myself. So it's not about who's better than each other. It's just about we're raised differently, so our bodies are different, and so they act a different way and can handle different things. And that's all according to our journey, our soul's mission. For whatever reason, I needed to play football for 25 years, I think it was. That's soccer to other people that have other football in their country. And what I learned from that, I haven't fully figured all the. It could have just been that it's going to keep me fit for many years after I retired. And maybe that was its purpose, was just a purely physical thing. And yes, I still get a lot of joy out of it, because I get up at stupid o'clock in the morning to watch the games, because I'm in a different country and English Premier League's on a different time zone. But outside of that, point being is knowing your body and being able to talk to your body and seeing what it needs, and seeing how much exercise it needs, what kind of food it needs, how much fresh air, so on and so forth. And the body will then, you do that and you love your body, and it will repair, and it will always stay tuned.
Yeah, everything in time, and it passes. Yeah, if you're 50 and you're still trying to behave like a 20-year-old, all the things that you used to do, then there's an incongruency of growth, expansion. And that's why Roy is explaining, like, he's had this belief system and for many years was incredibly fit and running around, loved his football, soccer, like whatever you want to call it, in different countries. Like, he loves it. And that's a physical realm thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. but everything in time it passes. But if you're trying to hold on to a belief system or something that you did when you were younger, then there's the incongruency and there's that misalignment with, again, your soul's evolution. Yeah. We don't want to stay crawling for the rest of our lives just because that's what we did when we were very little. We want to evolve, grow. And then there are times we may not need to be running all of the time. It's time to slow down. So we need to keep tuning in. And that's the ascension process. So let's get to the crux of this. So what is this an ascension? What are symptoms? What is it? And we've spoken, this whole podcast has been about the ascension process. It's the evolution of your soul's journey in this physical realm. Yeah. That, simply put, is the ascension process. But it can look like when you go through, it's an everyday thing. It's not just, oh, I had an ascension symptom. Like, it's like I go to school, I've learned, I got my degree, cool, next. Or, yeah, I've achieved it. I've got no more learning to do. It's not like that. It's continuous. And some things we will receive downloads and insights into, and it will be a smooth transition because we're accepting. But then there are moments, and certainly us a couple of weeks ago now,
Big changes.
Holy shit, I was out for a week. I have not had anything hit me so hard for so long. And it was teaching me many things. And what, we can definitely speak about what an ascension symptom looks like. It may resemble a cold, sniffles, bit of a sore throat. That's the activation of my voice chakra on another level. When my beloved tuned into me, he was like, oh, I'm feeling this connection to the, I got goosebumps again, the Avarian realm, like dimension, the blue Avarian.
Blue avians.
Blue avians.
Yeah.
Different terminology. Then it's like, but thank you, because others would relate to it that way. It's like, he goes, this is a new instrument coming in for you. And I've always used my voice in terms of my meditations, and that transmission has always been through my voice. But there's another dimension, another level again coming in through. So it can look like that for you.
And interesting enough, you were singing in my dream last night. You were singing to a client. Remember?
Yeah.
I shared that earlier. Shared you. So it's interesting. And look, it wasn't a surprise to us that we went through Ascension Symptoms. What was it? Basically 2 weeks after moving to a new location.
Yeah.
Into a new vibration. Yeah. Because we have to release the old. And when we release the old, that includes old relationships, old toxins, old jobs, old friendships, old phone numbers, old everything. And you have to cull. And that, everything you cull, whether it's a contact in your phone or contact on your Facebook, that's old energy. And that's your higher self going, let them go because they're old. And it's nothing personal. No. But when you release the old, that then creates space on a for new to come in. Because if you keep them there, they're going to occupy space before new can come in. They're in the exact same space. So until you cull, the new cannot come in.
Great love and respect.
Yeah. So this is why, like, as ebb and flow and we grow, we have to release the old. Trees release leaves. Trees release bark. Animals release fur, or certain insects release their exoskeleton. Crabs release their exoskeleton to grow. Hermit crabs get rid of one shell and go and find another. Throughout the whole of nature, everything grows and releases something along the way as it grows. So for humans, it's toxins. And toxins is obviously old emotions. So when we grow and change, our body has to release those old emotions. And depending on which experts and research that you do, a virus's purpose, the body creates viruses to release old energy, release old toxins. So then we catch a virus. Again, we're not medical doctors, but you can look at some experts out there and they say, like, the body creates viruses to release old toxins. That's what a virus's purpose does. So it makes the body purge through snot, sweat.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears, yeah. Number twos, number ones.
Body emissions.
Yeah, but everything that the body knows how to release our toxins. But when we hold on to that, and when we just keep eating unhealthy food and don't give the body the right nutrients and the right things to help it release, the physical experience of that release gets strong and painful.
Yeah.
and it
absolutely.
elongates.
Yeah.
I mean, our Ascension Symptoms lasted probably 4 days each.
Yeah,
You
mine
started a
was
day
fine.
earlier than
Yeah.
me, didn't you? And I
Yeah.
think we just started a day earlier so that we could support each other
Yeah.
along the way. But we were both whacked out at one point when we were
Yeah.
we
I
were
need to
sick.
rest.
But we were just releasing toxins, and this is where 5D comes in. Your higher self, the powerful version of you, knows what's going on,
Yeah.
and you're still consciously aware. So you don't drop into the victim through third dimensional. Woe is me. Oh, I'm sick, and now I'm just going to feel sad. We knew when to rest. We knew when to do things,
Nourish our bodies.
and one commonality for any of Ascension Symptoms is a lot of fluids. Help the body release, flush it out. Now I was going through echinacea, ginger tea, and
Beautiful
honey, like
herbal
it, but herbal,
plant.
organic tea, like you know.
You're craving it.
Yeah, I was going. Yeah, like
honey, beautiful antibacterial, antimicrobial. Like honey's such an incredible. And even though I'm vegan, I'm actually plant-based. When my body wants it, it's like yes, as long as I find a good source.
Yeah, the coffee intake went down, and the herbal tea intake went up, and because that's my body going, this is what I need right now. And he just helped me, and we was drinking a lot more water than normal, and I do drink plenty of water. I have very healthy water as well, so my body is always very well hydrated, which is another, like if your body's not hydrated and you start hydrating it to get rid of toxins, the first thing the body's going to do is take that. So you've got levels to get through before you start releasing the toxins. And another symptom during that process was a bit of headache.
Yeah.
Which was a challenge.
Oh my God, my top of my third eye and my crown felt like it was exploding. I'm like, I appreciate that I'm getting all these upgrades and things, but my poor little physical body, I just needed to rest. I think I slept. We got home at 3 one day, and I just slept until the next morning. I sweated it all out. I had to change the
you were sweating.
everything. And it's like I had to also surrender to my beautiful partner to support me and not try and push through, take medications to push through. Like, no, like surrender and ask Source, Spirit, God, the universe, your higher self, what are you here to show me? And being okay with that level of rest. And, you know, we were the universe incredibly supported us in ensuring that we had the money backing us up so that we could rest and do all of these things. And it supported us before and after, and of course, during the entire time.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is, like, sometimes knowing when to accept help from all the realms, and we both was on paracetamol, weren't we?
I did take
just to ease the physical.
I had a fever. Yeah.
Which, but it's still doing it in the knowledge, going, this is supporting my physical body, because I don't have, like you said, you don't have to push through. A minimal support that helps shorten, because you don't have to be the warrior or the hero. Oh, I can push this, I don't need anything. And I've been down that route. And I just elongate it. Whereas now it's like, okay, this is getting too much for my physical body. So I've got to honor my physical body and go, right. And that's my body going, you need support.
Yeah.
You need support with this release. So, and this is your knowledge base. This will help.
We tuned in and asked, what do you need right now? Yes, we needed water, we needed tea. Echinacea, found a beautiful blend. I studied naturopathy and, thank you, honey, herbs and things. And it was like, I knew that it needed echinacea. And then I tune in, and the paracetamol was the same. It's like, I'm like, oh, okay, what do I need now? And I just heard this drop in paracetamol. I'm like, oh, really? And then I, grabbed a packet, touched it, and it's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So every moment we were tuning in. What do we need right now? And it can look like a cold and flu symptoms, but they will feel remarkably different at the time. And you'll be more tuned in to what is this source showing me? And then the uploads, the downloads, and the expansion through that, and through that space. Then after it, the activation of my voice has come through again. And, it's funny that you should, that came in, because when I was very little, I was trained opera, I don't know if I ever shared that with
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
but I was an opera singer and I had an incredible transmission of my voice. It was beautiful. And then one day I was told to shut up, it was too noisy. And then my voice broke. And I've never been able to hold a tune again. So, and I obviously held that for so long, because when it comes from parental, we hold on to that, because as, very young beings, we seek the support and approval from our parents or primary caregivers, held on to that for decades. And it's only been in the last couple of years I've been consciously working through the transmission of my voice to realign that back with my soul, because I've often heard that from spirit, that my voice is my transmission. So that the fact that that was active through that, and then you're hearing me sing, and I have been drumming with my medicine drum and singing again, tuning. It's like, it's coming back.
It's time to bring it back. And interesting enough, like even with myself, a lot of my healing energy comes from a voice. So when I'm doing Reiki, I'm actually talking a lot through the process. I'm talking with the client, because the energy doesn't always come through my hands; it comes through my voice.
Vibration and frequency.
Yeah, vibration frequency, which is not just blue avian stuff, it's also dragon energy.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon connection, which could be a whole nother podcast, just comes straight verbatim. It's kind of like got a revolving door where your throat chakra is, and it revolves, and then you get dragon energy come through. So that's a whole different podcast and teachings and everything. Going back to the physical body and the symptoms and the release and everything, paracetamol, as much as big farmers and any kind of farmers getting such a bad rap at the moment, which is justified, they still, everything that they've ever made, it still is plant-based, originates from something they learned from nature. A certain plant creates this, like penicillin and echinacea for what we use, which is still part of the plant. But paracetamol has, when you look at it, it's created from certain plants, certain barks, so on and so forth. So it's, they've just taken it beyond and put a lot of artificial stuff in it, which that's, again, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, that's entirely up to you. So coming back, the physical body knows how to ascend through energetic upgrades. It's built that way. We're born that way. It's natural to it. And it's only when we take the belief of others, whether it's big pharma, parents, environment, so on and so forth, or even just trying to fit in, do we resist those upgrades. And in a strange way, we're a bit like mobile phones. When we upgrade massively, we turn off and on again. And we download the upgrade, then when we turn back on again, all the apps have to get updated with the new software. That's our DNA upgrading, and it does a similar thing. So we do get aches and pains simply because that's our body re-energizing updated DNA with a new frequency that then is telling our body to do slightly different things, become less dense, for instance. Because in the old worlds of shapeshifters, they could literally shapeshift in the older worlds. And there's still myth of Native American Indian shapeshifters called shadow walkers, I think they're called. And you can still read about them, that they just come knocking at the door, and you can just see in their face that that's not a wolf or a deer or something like that. It just walks different, looks different. So there's still people that have still got their body light enough to shift the bones and the muscles around. And we are becoming more aligned with that again. I mean, obviously, it's still quite a few years away, but we don't know, because nature itself can leap like that in one easy go sometimes.
Given the right environment.
Yeah, given the right environment, it can suddenly change. And we're going through massive upgrades. Mother Earth is fully in 5D vibration now, which is multidimensional. So we're not just aware that there's a universe, but there's unlimited other universes where every potentiality exists, and we can shift into that. So, in the purest form, you could tune into a universe where you have a brand new house. And when you shift into that, you got no money, and all of a sudden you win a house. That I mean, it's a very easy explanation, and there's still physical work to be able to shift all the limiting beliefs out of the way to tune into that. And if you're so strong-willed enough, you can certainly achieve that. And this 5D realm that we're in now basically helps us know that we can achieve anything we're meant to achieve according to our soul contract for this journey.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful piece. And that's what we're here to guide people on. We're Ascension Mastery Guides, because and I was going to use the word eliminating, so that was quite interesting, like helping guide you to leap forward, create the correct environment for you, to help you create your environment, whatever is aligned to you, right? It's not what's for us, because there are obviously spiritual teachers out there, this is the way. And it's like, we're not cookie cutters, my loves. Yeah, we can all give and support you each in what your mission is, what your soul contract is, being more in alignment with that, so that you can create the correct environment and being able to ascend. And then, once we get to 5D consciousness, we don't just stop. Yeah, it's not like getting your degree and not learning anything else. It's a constant expansion. It's the constant alignment. It's the letting go and recycling. Actually, not even recycling. Well, repurposing. Yeah, shifting beliefs, shifting patterns. And that will continuously come, like you were saying about like physical body things, it will consistently shift and change. Yeah, you can change physical attributes easily. I've taught this tons of times, and I've seen people do it, and I'm actually okay with my physical features and things. I don't actually want to change it. Yeah. There's been ailments and things I've easily shifted, and some that's taken a little bit longer, and that's okay. But as guides, we're here to support you to navigate this beautiful human experience, how to tune into 5D consciousness and bring that into physical reality. We don't want to, back to what Roy said at the very beginning, we're not here to escape and just live in that beautiful world and bypass. We're here to have this incredible experience and joy and peace and happiness and bliss on earth. And we're here to show you the way through your own beautiful higher self that is always communicating with you, always connected. We're here to simply remember.
Remember that we are a human being that can channel very powerful energies. And as we ascend and allow these new upgrades to come in, we can channel more energy. And one thing I've noticed as my healing journey of a healer, when I first started doing energy healings, I would feel it. I'd feel all the energy channeling through my body and everything. Now when I do a healing, I'm like, am I doing anything? Like, because my vessel has become so much more expanded, that a drop of energy that it takes to channel into another person doesn't touch the sides. So I'm not going to feel it. That's just the growth. Whereas when I do collective healing, that I can feel.
Yeah.
Because I'm filling up my pipe, for want of a better term. And that's the belief. But I'm still experiencing physical symptoms while I'm doing energetical work. So I'm blended. And so when my emotion is changed, because I'm channeling to help someone else, I'm not taking it on board. I'm going, okay, that's the emotion in that person right now. I can help them with that. I'm not attaching it to it. I'm not believing it's mine. I'm trusting my 5D abilities and channeling them into my 3D human body that is the feedback system. So I'm just utilizing my human body in a slightly different way in that moment.
The channel.
Yeah, that's channeling.
Conduit.
Conduit. And it's trusting that. And that takes linear time and practice to trust. And observation.
And it is a skill set to learn.
Yeah. And like we said at the beginning, you can't do any of this without honoring your human body. Because it's the one that contains all of these amazing things for you to experience. So that's Ascension Symptons, and a lot about Ascension as well, and a bit more about 5D and everything else
beautiful.
in between. And we'll continue these podcasts, hopefully try and get a bit more regular again this time, as much as we said that on the last podcast, and then we had to move and we had to do a lot of physical stuff. We had to do a lot of physical stuff and upgrade ourselves. So of which we've taken that journey and honoured ourselves and moved through times where we were both lying there going, oh, how long has this been going on for? And it's probably and it was about the third day we started coming out of it. And through my observation over many years of going through plenty of upgrades, the real big ones, the third day is the most challenging, because that's when the energies, your human body's going, okay, and I'm at my limit of taking on board new integrations. We need to cut it now, and so I can integrate this. And it takes time to integrate what you downloaded as well. So aches and pains and sniffles can remain for a few weeks afterwards as well, or new aches and pains can come in because there's new channels in your body that are activating that hadn't had a necessarily strong energy flow previously. That then when it starts, your physical body will say, hey, there's no energy flow here. And if we react on a physical level and go, oh, my body's pulled a muscle or something, then we'll often go and take painkillers and block that flow again. And the body goes, whoa, we need the flow, we need the flow. And so there is, So it's just a knowing and a knowledge that the body's activating in a new place that you're not used to before. It's a bit like when you go running for the first time and your legs ache. It's only because the muscles haven't been used that way. And so they're just going, okay, we need to, that's something new. We need to start adapting to that. And then until you're fully adapted, your legs are going to ache.
Yeah. And then it becomes a pattern, a new way of being. So too is 5D Ascension.
Yeah, it becomes normal. So
normal.
So this is where we'll tail off this particular podcast. Thanks again for watching. If you're watching the replay or watching any of the shorts that lead to this live video, along the bottom, if you'd like to reach out and work with us one-on-ones as either just a one-off or mentoring, becoming a student, we've got openings for our student programs. We're interested enough through this recent upgrade, we're now upgrading our websites and everything is being completely redone. So it's interesting what physically happens after an upgrade as well. So there's always physical signs that you've been through an upgrade. And so reach out. Our website's across the bottom, at the back behind us as well. And we'll see you again soon. We'll end it at 11:11.
Perfect.
Perfect. Take care, everyone.
Much love.
Bye-bye.